Hello, hello. We are here. It is Kara Skaflestad, the founder of Fighting Pretty, and
Ben Fraser.
so we are here today after, a year and a half of dating.
Freaking amazing year and a half.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize up front for the giggles
because we're both gonna blush.
I kind of giggle whenever he says anything. But yeah, so we, as some of you may know, I am the founder of Fighting Pretty. I was diagnosed with breast cancer 11 years ago. And, since then have started Fighting Pretty, and just recently after COVID started doing these coffee talks and virtual events and having conversations with all the ladies out there who, are struggling just like the rest of us to get through all of the emotional side effects of cancer. And navigating love on its own can be really, really hard. And going through cancer on top of that is, let's just say, impossible. So after, doing a couple coffee talks already and talking about clothes and finding bathing suits after having surgeries and, just going through all sorts of things that cancer kind of makes you go through, we felt like love and cancer was a good thing to talk about. And again, not sure if a lot of you know that I am a breast cancer survivor, and Ben recently was just diagnosed with melanoma and had his melanoma taken out of his back. And so we are both cancer survivors, which is not necessarily something to be happy about, but it's also something that, we both endured and are here for each other to kind of battle and fight pretty and fight handsome and fight strong through this crazy thing called cancer. So we wanted to share our story with you in hopes that it would help you in any way possible navigate love and cancer. And so here we go. So I thought we would kick it off with a little bit of a background on my story, and then Ben is going to talk a little bit about his story, and then we can talk about our story together. So I, like I said, was diagnosed back in 2008. I was 26 years old. This was way before I knew Ben. And I was living in New York City, and I just went on one date with a guy that I worked with. And 1 week later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And to be totally honest, he was very amazing through all of it. We ended up getting married, and that was very short-lived. I think, he was very supportive through the cancer diagnosis and the surgeries and all the hard stuff, but I don't think we could make it through real life. And it ended up where the cancer diagnosis and the all of the effects that go along with that, the starting of a nonprofit. So my whole life was surrounded by helping cancer patients and talking about cancer and attending cancer events, to the fact that my oncologist said, Kara, you should never have children because I had cancer, even though that direction has changed since then. But that was a huge issue in our marriage. And I think the resentment that came along with all of that is really what, split us up. And so I'm thankful that he was very honest. It was very hard to hear that, I was being resented because I had cancer, which was something that I didn't choose. But I'm thankful that I am not in a relationship with somebody who doesn't love the whole me and my experience, because I have found the person that loves the whole me, and I love the whole him, and I am beyond happy. And so I feel actually very blessed that I had a partner through my initial diagnosis and all of that, and that was very supportive. And, I'm actually very thankful that that relationship ended, that I could start a new one, a very healthy one. And so I, want to be very honest and vulnerable here. And I know Ben, is going to be as well on this discussion with you all, that, though what you see on Instagram is all happy-go-lucky and strong and beautiful, and I am fighting pretty and I can, manage all of it, it was really, really hard for the 10 years of going through cancer, plus going through a divorce and then having to date now on top of that. And so, we're here to talk about that and be really honest about it, because it's really hard work. It's really hard to do. I know that there are a lot of Fighting Pretty followers out there who have gone through or are going through dating while, going through cancer, who are now going through dating after going through surgeries and what have you, or they're just, struggling in their current relationships or marriages to talk about cancer and how they feel, or sexual issues or whatever. And so, I certainly know firsthand what it's like to date through cancer. I know what it's like to get married after cancer. And I also know what it's like to go through heartbreak because of cancer and then have to date all over again with someone brand new and tell them, hey, by the way, I don't have any breasts and I am afraid I'm going to get cancer again. And, I may or may not be able to have children. Hey, want to sign up for that? And so having those conversations are really hard, with a lot of tears and a lot of hugs. And I feel, really lucky that I have been able to be really vulnerable with this man who is sitting next to me, who also wants to share his story with all of you, because this is a really hard topic. And if I were able to do it personally, in person with all of you, I would. But due to COVID, we're here. And so I'm not sure if any of you saw the little Instagram kind of hello we just did about 20 minutes ago, but Ben kind of offered up the idea, which I love. If any of you that are listening right now have a story to tell and you want to come on today, just make a note in the Fighting Pretty Facebook comments, and Corinne, who's managing the Facebook Fighting Pretty account right now, will private message you the link if you want to come on and chat with us. Otherwise, please feel free to send some questions in the comments. We did receive some questions that we have over here that we'll answer in a few minutes, but we just kind of wanted to set the stage for what we plan on talking about today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ask questions, comments, or say that you want to come on, and Corinne will send you the link. We'll get you on video too.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So
Ben, tell us a little bit about you before we talk about our love story.
I was in a previous relationship and marriage from 2011 until 2017, and dating again was just really strange, especially this day and age. And I stayed away from any online dating format until late 18. And then within a few weeks, Karen and I started talking, and she was the first person I started talking to, and ultimately the first person I physically went on a date with from online dating. Mm-hmm. So we went on one date. Can I tell the other part of this?
I don't know what part you're gonna tell.
Went on one date. I had another date with another girl the day or two after, and I woke up the next morning after our first date, and I called the other girl and I said, I'm not showing up. I want to see where this goes.
Sorry, girl. I got my claws in them.
Yeah. So it was near, it was like immediate fireworks, and it's been nothing but good and really freaking good ever since. So my daughter is 9 years old from my previous marriage, and is with us part the time. and it's awesome. We live together now, and good things ahead.
Yeah. But I think, the piece of this story is we both went through heartbreak, and B, we, got back on the dating game in our 30s, which is hard. We both came with, in quotes, I'm going to call it baggage, because thank God I got a 2-for-1 deal with his daughter because I'm obsessed with her. But it's not easy. And I, to be honest, I wish that I could say that he was my first online date. Unfortunately, I had several really hilarious and sad stories. But, going through all of that, it made me very clear on, I didn't want to impress the person I was going on a date with. I wanted them to impress me. I got to the point where I wasn't trying to be anyone else. I started to really just own the fact that, you know what? I'm a breast cancer survivor. I have been through, treatment, and I don't know if I can have children. And it's not all those things that I lay out on the first date. And very honestly, luckily for me, talking about breast cancer kind of came naturally, because people nowadays Google you before you go out on a date. And so, many times people would say, oh, so I saw, you run this nonprofit Fighting Pretty, or tell me about your nonprofit. And so it would be the segue into talking about breast cancer. But sorry, I just got distracted by my mom. She just wrote, it doesn't get better. By the way, she had a fart date. I did not fart on the date. Ben did not fart on the date. This was a guy that I dated before Ben who farted on a date, and it was a one date done. So sorry, I digress. But
cheek lifter.
It was he actually lifted a cheek when we went out to dinner. It was kind of a deal breaker for me. But sorry, I looked at my mom's comment and I digress. But I think the whole, one thing I heard from Ben early on was, it's important when you're dating to be picky. And you have to be picky. You have to figure out what works for you. It's not like I need to change myself to figure out what works for Ben. It's, is this person right for me? And it doesn't always happen on your first online date. And it doesn't only happen, very easily. And sometimes having these conversations about going through cancer is really, really hard. And somebody might get totally turned off and be like, oh, that freaks me out. I can't deal with that. But other people, the right people, stick around and they want to know more, and they want to dive into your background, and they realize that, you didn't do anything to deserve cancer. And so they want to get to know you as a person and not just as this person who had cancer. And so I think the biggest takeaway there in terms of dating is to not be ashamed of who you are or what you've gone through, because it makes you who you are today, and it makes you smarter. And look at what we've done together as a community for Fighting Pretty, and the people that we've met along the way, and the connections we've made through our Fighting Pretty, through Facebook groups, or at Susan G. Komen. My life has been so much more enriched because of cancer versus, sure, I've had a lot more heartache because of cancer, but I've also, certainly met the most amazing people. I see Julie Moser on here. I would have never known you. So many people in this network now we know and we love like sisters because of what we've gone through. Hi, Monique. Love you too. But so, I think also a learning for me, and I don't know if you would agree, but I'm sure you would, is pre-cancer, I feel like I was always that girl who would try to act perfect on dates. And I wasn't ever really my true authentic self. And after going through cancer, after going through a divorce and getting heartbroken, I think when I started dating again, I was unapologetically me. I was goofier. I was, silly and real. And, I actually remember our first date. For those of you who live in Oregon, we went to Huber's for dinner because we talked about it. One piece of advice I would recommend that Ben did with me was we actually talked on the phone first before we went on a date, and like FaceTimed before we went on a physical date, which was super awesome. And just to backtrack, it is not lost when a man comes to pick you up, even if you're just walking somewhere, but it's not lost if he comes with a gift. And so maybe it's not flowers. It might just be a box of mac and cheese and a bottle of wine, which is what he got for me, because I told him that mac and cheese was like my all-time favorite comfort food. And so he came with a bottle of wine and a box of mac and cheese wrapped in a pink bow. And right off the bat, I was like, this guy is the most adorable thing I've ever seen. And so then, we went out to dinner, and I feel like it was a bit of an interview. It's like, what do you think is a healthy relationship? What do you want in life? And, I don't know, but we just laughed and had fun, and we haven't stopped laughing since. Mm-hmm. So
I had you at mac and cheese.
Yeah, he had me at mac and cheese. Ashley will attest to that. She is also on here. Yeah, I think the idea of being unapologetically you, I think, is important. And I would say that Ben is the same, Yeah,
for me, it was I had to have the foundation of being completely okay with me and my circumstances. And then that just opens up your behavior and personality to just be unapologetically you. Mm-hmm. And it allowed me to get to a place quicker in which I could see what needed to be compromised or not, mm-hmm. or any red flags or not. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, timing was just freaking perfect, mm-hmm. for you to come along. Yeah, it was good.
Same.
So yeah, a good foundation, and then figuring out what fits, and you got to be picky, mm-hmm. super picky from the start.
And when we say be unapologetically you, that doesn't mean like be an ass. It doesn't mean like you could say whatever you want. It just means like be the real you, be the kind, good, silly, funny, I'm a breast cancer survivor and I'm a warrior and I'm proud of it, you. And don't, hide the fact that you're an amazing, strong, powerful, vocal woman. Sorry, Archie is barking. Archie? And I think, I remember going to support groups, and back in the day when I first had cancer, like treatment, and some of these women were like, well, what do you do? If you haven't told the person you're dating yet that you have had cancer and you're not quite ready to, Archie, you're not quite ready to tell them. And I think that's fair. I think it's up to you. It's whatever is right for you. And I remember this woman saying, well, I'm nervous to take off my clothes because obviously this person is going to see that I don't have natural breasts, right? She had reconstructive surgery. And I was the first person to speak up at this support group. And I was like, buy yourself a beautiful nightgown and you rock that nightgown. You rock your little, beautiful bra set and underwear. If you're not ready to tell this person, you're still you. Just because you have like fake breasts doesn't mean that this person needs to, I don't know, not look at your beautiful body, even if it's covered in a bra and underwear, I think that's a personal decision. I think that's something that, you have to think about and feel comfortable with. But I don't know. I think it's important for you as a woman to feel beautiful and sexy in your body. And you don't have to explain that to anyone if you're not ready to do that. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and that's got to be complemented by your partner.
Yeah.
Like if are you going to compromise that part of what you need for the relationship.
Mhm.
And really, I'm talking about new relationships.
Yeah.
Because that's certainly nothing that you should compromise.
Yeah.
Existing long-term relationships, that's a different story that you got to work through.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's way more at stake the longer you're in the relationship.
Yeah.
So for new relationships, no compromises, be picky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Others, if that's still your person and just a little adjustment needs to be made, then there's other resources as well.
Mm-hmm. So we got some questions that we received on, I think it was through our Facebook Messenger. And, they really were, one said they were interested in hearing about our relationship during my battle, to learn so that she could learn how her husband and her could continue to learn and grow through an ongoing challenge. And the second question was, as a couple, how do you get through the tough days? So I think we should answer that second one first,
Okay.
because I feel like, in general, everybody has tough days, especially with quarantining and social distancing. And, especially now people are going through chemotherapy and surgeries and they have to do it alone because they're not allowed to have visitors in the hospital. It's just everything right now is so heightened. Things are just going on in the world that are just really, really scary. And I think everybody needs to be able to lean on their partner even more now than ever. I would say, I think because both of us have been in previous relationships that failed, I think we learned a lot from these committed relationships that ultimately failed. We didn't go into those relationships thinking, oh yeah, they would only last a couple years and then on to the next one. No, I know I can speak for really both of us that we are two people who believe wholeheartedly in marriage and in commitment, and that you choose your person day over day over day. And it's a choice every single day. It's not, it's a journey. It's a commitment. And, I would say something I learned the most is really needing to feel comfortable about expressing your feelings and your wants and your needs from this person. And so, I feel like Ben has done that with me, where, he's not as expressive in what he wants. He kind of does the old Frasier shrug sometimes, or I see him and he kind of does like a little, okay. And I'm like, if there's a situation that you're not, loving about what's happening, then let's talk about it. We don't need to have a screaming fight over it. In fact, we joke all the time that, first fight, because I'm like, please just let me empty the dishwasher. No, I want to empty the dishwasher. We're like, oh, first fight. And even Aubrey, his daughter, is like, oh, you guys are going to have your first fight. But I think it's because it's not that we don't disagree. It's just, let's not let it get to a point where it's going to boil into something massive, just because let's talk it out first. Mm-hmm. And get down to the problem before it boils and gets, pops the lid off.
Well, specifically with the tough days, in regards to cancer side effects and treatment intricacies, it's the whole attentive piece and communicative piece that really bring it together and have prevented any fights, blow-ups, like any tough times, really. Like, we get emotional, we together, but it's nothing which is insurmountable. It's all good.
And I think, and I know this is part of my personality, I need people to lean on. And I was saying this to Ben earlier today, that sometimes I call my mom's on here as well, and my friend Ashley. I call them when I need a pep talk, because it's making sure you have those people in your life that can, just when you're ready to tell yourself, like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's too much on my mind, And I don't want to put it on Ben's plate because he's my partner and I know, like, he's got this going on or he's worried about this and I don't want to bother him with it. Well, then if you don't want to put it on your partner, there's other people in your life that you love as well and that love you. And so this whole thing is about love and Cancer. And yes, it's about us and our relationship, but it's about the people who love you and they want to help you. And so if I call my friend Ashley or I call my sister or my mom and say, gosh, I'm so in my head about this thing. And I just found out that, my Allergan breast implants have to be removed because, I might get cancer again. I literally went to Ashley's office. I'll never forget this. And at first I could see her eyes and she got filled with tears because she got nervous because I was like, well, that's it. I'm just going to die and I'm going to have lymphoma and that's just the end of it. And she, I'm sure she's laughing right now. She like stuck her finger in my face and she's like, no, you do not have cancer. You are not dying. And I want you to stop saying it right now. And you know what? She was right. I'm like, I don't have cancer. I'm freaking out over this and I don't need to freak out. I mean, I need to freak out, but I don't need to like have a death sentence. I'm not dying. I don't have cancer right now. I just have to get my breast implants out and I have to take it one day by day. And those are the kinds of things like you need to lean on your partner to set you back. You need to lean on your friends who will tell you how it is. And your mom, my mom, I talked to her and I'm like, Mom, I'm having this thing. And I'm just like having a pity party because, I have all this space in my dresses and I can't find a bathing suit. And I am the founder of Fighting Pretty who goes on and tells you all over and over and over again how strong and beautiful and amazing and gorgeous and incredible you are. And you are. And I know that I am too, but sometimes I just need to hear it. And sometimes you just have to ask someone to say it to you. So there are times I get out of the shower and I look in the mirror and I stand there and Ben's like getting ready for whatever. And I just stand there and I get tears in my eyes and he comes up behind me. He just puts his arm around me and he's like, babe, I love you. You're beautiful. And that's all I need. And then I'm like, you're right. I don't need to sit here and cry about my chest, because I just need a reminder. But you, men, partners, friends, sometimes your Cancer friends just need a reminder that they're amazing and they're strong and they can get through this. So as a couple, how do we get through the tough days? I think we try to reinforce each other where we know the other one is weak. Mm-hmm. I think also keeping busy is super important. I remember going through the cancer treatment days where my boyfriend at the time would, book us stuff. We'd go to the movies. We'd just have a pizza night in, but there was like a plan on the calendar. My sister would say, hey, let's go over to so-and-so's house for dinner or whatever. It's keeping your mind off of the hardships that you're really going through. And that, I think that goes for Cancer. I think it goes for divorce. Mm-hmm. I was asking Ben earlier, like, who were your people who got you through divorce? Because he was, fighting strong or fighting handsome through divorce,
not Cancer and during the divorce, but.
Right. But
I think for the emotional or negative aspects of it, it's important, super important to address them, talk about them, acknowledge
and be vulnerable with your person.
But don't dwell on them. Mm-hmm. You can't dwell on them. Life's too short to focus on the negative. Mm-hmm. You got to focus on the fun, the positive, find fun things to do, and turn the negatives into positives.
And one piece of that too is we talked about, it was a couple coffee talks ago, that there are two books that I always read when I am feeling like I'm just in a pit and I'm just like down on myself. I'm down on the world. I do kind of start feeling sorry for myself because whatever, I can't find a bathing suit and it's just not fair that I had to go through cancer, or I go to all my friends' baby showers, and I am genuinely happy for everyone. But I'm like, this cancer thing set me back and it's not fair. There are 2 books, Choosing Happiness and Instant Happy, that truly have gotten me through so much. And they're, super, super easy reads. You can read them before bed. It's just a quick little thing that says everyone has the right to be upset and feel sorry for themselves, and they should. And for, a minute, an hour, they get in the shower, they cry it out, they talk to their partner and say, it's just not fair. Why is this happening to me? And then you just got to pick yourself up and remember that you have a choice today. You have a choice. You can stay in a bad mood all day. And if that's your choice, that's fine. Just try not to take it out on anyone. But just do it and move on. And the other choice is you choose to put it past you and embrace the bullshit and move on. And embrace your new body. Embrace your new crazy chemo hair. Embrace the new mullet that you have because you're growing out your chemo hair. Embrace the dark fingernails that you have and put those little sticker color things on top of them so you don't see it. Do things that make you feel strong and beautiful to get yourself out of that hole. Whatever that tool is, whatever that thing is for you. Go for a walk with your partner. Go for a walk by yourself. Go for a walk with your dog. Whatever you need to do, do something to get yourself out of it.
I embrace your body.
My mom's watching. Okay.
You're welcome.
Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so another question is, again, I said before, somebody asked if they were interested in hearing about my relationship during my battle to learn how her and her husband can continue to learn and grow through the ongoing challenge. So I will say Ben and I were not together when I was first diagnosed. I will say early on during that time, I was in my 20s, early 20s, and kind of like what we were just saying, honestly, we talked about a lot about the feelings that I had. We really kept busy. And I would say that my partner at the time did a lot to just make me laugh and make me feel like a normal person, not like a cancer patient. And I would say a lot, my friends were amazing in that way too. My college roommates, Colleen, I saw you on there before. I mean, my friends would come and visit me. They would send me care packages. That's actually where I got the idea to send pretty packages to women battling cancer, was really through, what my college roommates would send me to help empower me and remind me that I was the strong, beautiful woman that I am. My mom and I would have dance parties in the living room. We would just do things to keep our minds off of cancer. And just yesterday morning, I've been starting to take these walks around my block around 7:00 in the morning before I start my day with my dog Archie. And I started listening to Masterclass with Oprah. It's a podcast. It's super quick, 30 minutes. I'm trying to get my 30-minute cardio in because it reduces the risk of cancer. And she interviewed Justin Timberlake, and he was just talking about, just because you're in a relationship and you're committed, like you've made that, you're either married or you've made the commitment to stay in a long-term relationship, whatever the case is, you shouldn't ever stop dating. Like if your partner, I don't know, loves this special kind of coffee, then you want to make sure that they always have their special kind of coffee. This guy, he's a coffee snob. But, if that your boyfriend loves a good old-fashioned,
Yes.
learn how to make an old-fashioned. And when he gets home from work, surprise him and with an old-fashioned. I don't know. Just do small things to keep your partner feeling loved by you and cared for by you. And I understand that we're still in a 1.5-year relationship, right? It's still new. But I truly know that that's something that went downhill in my previous relationship. I felt like I kept dating but I wasn't being dated back. And so I know that's something in this relationship that I have with Ben that, I want to keep it fun with him, and I want to, make it fun for us. And I know that he does the same thing with me. I'll be working upstairs and he brings me a little snack, or I don't know. I mean, this is probably way TMI, but I was washing dishes last night and he pantsed me. Like, who does that? I'm almost 40. It was hysterical. Like, here I am washing dishes and he pantses me. Like, it's just, we try to keep it fun. We try to keep it light. And I think it's just important to keep your partner laughing. And the things that you guys did when you were first dating, reinvigorate that stuff, because why not?
Yeah.
Have fun. I mean, my sister has been with her husband, I think it's now 20 years. Is it 20 years? Something like that. And I remember she gave me advice when I started dating before Ben. She said, once your relationship isn't fun anymore, then you have to do something, or you got to get out. And that's when I was dating. But I still kind of feel like that's so true, because if you're with one person for the rest of your life, like, why not keep it fun? This person's my best friend right here. Sorry, Ashley. Sorry, Mom. But he is. He's my best friend.
The truth comes out.
And I have so much fun with him. And I want to have fun with him until I'm 115 years old. Why not? Yeah.
It's important to stay silly. Still have a kid mentality at times.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been, I don't want to say it's been hard, but it definitely hasn't been super easy because of COVID. But it's just a matter of adapting and having date nights at home and cooking fun new dinners and having an entire spread and presentation on the dinner table as a surprise, or an impromptu dinner out unexpectedly when things opened up. It's super important to keep dating.
Even little things like, what do you do to learn and grow through an ongoing challenge? Again, I think it's doing things for the other person that that person enjoys. I think it's also talking about the issue. Like, let's say you've been with your husband for 10 years or 15 or 20 years, and you just are going through cancer right now. It's understanding, what does that person need right now to help them get through whatever stage of cancer they're going through. If they're about to lose their hair, well, why don't you help them schedule, an appointment to go get their hair cut? Why don't you, as a man, I will say, to reminisce, back on my previous relationship, my boyfriend at the time shaved his head when I lost my hair. And at the time, that was huge. It really was. It meant a lot. And so I'm not saying all of you husbands out there have to go shave your head if that's not something that you want to do. But think about something that you could do for your wife or, for your partner that would make her feel special. Could you buy her a beautiful new pair of pajamas? Could you buy her, I don't know, just something. Do something very special to show your love and care for her.
A little healthy, manly competition. Shaved head, or I go get my own scar.
Well, so one other thing that Ben did that I thought was super creative and obviously super heartfelt. I actually want you to tell the story for my surgery. Mm-hmm. Because this is something, honestly, that anybody could do. And it just takes a little bit of work. A lot of bit of work. But it was super thoughtful, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. Go ahead.
So the Allergan implants were recalled, but because of how those recalls are broadcasted and sent out to recipients. We found out way later, or Kara found out way later than what was best, right? It was a year and a half after they were actually recalled, we found out. So Kara decides to get the Allergan implants out, and has to go in for another surgery. So on the eve of that surgery, the weeks leading up to it was very stressful and worrisome, and just kind of really emotional. Mm-hmm. So in an attempt to not necessarily lighten the mood, but
I bawled my eyes out when I saw it.
Lift Kara up in a way, I reached out to her friends and family, and Mama Scaff, Marianne, and Dana were huge helpers and contributors in getting all of Kara's high school friends, college friends, Pequannock Township friends involved in sending pictures to me through Dana and Marianne and Ashley and all her friends. That way I could get them printed and surprise her with an entire wall of photos from people who support her, love her, and would do practically anything for her. Do you have a photo of it?
I have the photo of you, my mom, and me, and you could see in the back there are just a massive amount of photos. This isn't a great representation.
We'll post one after this.
Sorry.
So it turned into something special. So Marianne was flying into Portland to help with the surgery because I couldn't get off work to stay with Kara the entire week afterwards. So Marianne showed up. Kara went to pick her up from the hospital, from the airport, and it just stayed a huge secret. And Kara didn't know I was getting all these photos. And while she was at the airport, she thought I was somewhere else. So I had them printed just at like Walgreens or CVS or something. Mm-hmm. No, Costco, whatever. And taped them with glue dots to her wall. And it was just a huge wall collage of photos of like, you know, every single one of those people in the photos.
I was dying.
And they were each holding a sign of love and support.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, honestly, there were over 100 photos pasted all over my fireplace in my apartment.
And so you got home from the airport. Marianne knew what was going on, so she walks in. You walk in, and you just.
Oh my God, I lost it.
2 seconds.
I have a video. I'm going to write a blog post about this. I can't believe I didn't do that. Did I?
No.
All right. I'm going to write a blog post about it. So check our blog. But you know, it's just being there for your partner in any way that you possibly can, reinforcing your love for them, reminding them they are beautiful, bringing home, you know, some flowers from Trader Joe's that are $3.99, guys. You know, if you have a garden in the backyard, just, you know, do it like the movies. Guys, just watch any rom-com and just do something that the guy does. Okay. Like just clip, you know, a little hydrangea from your backyard, put it in a little vase and put it next to your wife's bedside. I mean, she will go nuts. Okay. Just show her that you love her. And, you know, through the cancer journey, like cancer specifically, I think many women face different side effects across the board. I mean, honestly, some people, again, talking about intimacy issues and going through early menopause. I mean, those are all things that are real side effects from cancer treatments and chemotherapies and stuff. I would say definitely talk to your doctor about it. I know that there are solutions to those issues. I would also be the first person to say that going to couples counseling or speaking to someone who, really can help you guys through real life issues is not something to be ashamed of. Just because you're facing an issue because someone has a lifelong issue or a lifelong illness, it's not a bad thing to raise your hand and say, I don't really know how to do this, and I don't know how to help my partner. And talking to someone about it and coaching you through that is something that you could do for a couple months, and it could change your relationship for the rest of your life. And so don't be ashamed for being vulnerable. Share your feelings with your partner. Have date nights, once a week, even if it's at home and you're just ordering a pizza through Uber Eats or whatever. Drink. And if you can't drink because you don't drink or because you don't want to or you can't or whatever, sometimes just drinking an iced tea out of a wine glass and putting on a fancy dress, even though you have nowhere to go, it just makes you feel a little bit better. And so I would say, my biggest, recommendation for helping you to continue to learn and grow through an ongoing challenge is to just communicate about it and talk about it with your partner. Yeah. and understand what their needs are. If your husband or your partner is saying, gosh, I feel like you talk about cancer all the time, but in such a negative way. Okay, that can be draining on another person who's trying to move past it. Well, let's figure out a way to let's figure out a compromise. If that person needs to go then to a therapist to talk about cancer once a week to get it all out, sometimes you just have to talk about it. You don't even need advice. You just got to get it out, or they need to journal, or they need to do something. It's just figuring out what works for you, but being open and listening to your partner, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Gosh. Well, we've talked for almost an hour. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left.
Who's got a question?
Wondering if anybody out there has any questions.
You want to come on video? Come on.
We have 10 minutes left. Yes, if you'd like to come on and join us, we can add another screen so you can, tell us a little bit about your story or any tips that you have. Another piece of this is if you have any questions that you don't want to share right now, but you have questions for us, please email us at, I didn't even share any of these banners, at info@fightingpretty.org. I'm going to put it up on screen right here. So email us. If you have any questions that you want to talk about and you want us to answer, please just email us. We're happy to, answer any questions that you have. And this is just really hard to go through. It's really, really hard. Cancer is hard. Love is hard. And unfortunately, we've been through it all. Mm-hmm. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard, but with the right support system and definitely with the right partner or both, it's easier and can be made enjoyable. Mm-hmm. For how strange that sounds.
I just dribbled.
So
real life, ladies and gentlemen, real life. We're coming to you live. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're going to sign off here, but I have seen a lot of folks from Pequannock. I see you, Nicole. Thank you for joining. Brian Adams, hello. Monique, hello. You were one of the first pretty packages that we ever sent, and I'm sending you so much love today. I just want to thank you all. Brian Ferguson from high school, hello. Nicole Williams, how are you? Honestly, I'm just looking at a whole bunch of these comments, and I just want to thank you all so much for joining. My roommate, Colleen, My friend Ashley from here in Portland, I was talking about her before. My mom, who is just, my rock. Jamie, hello. Selena. I'm just so happy that you were all able to join. And if you weren't able to see the full talk with Ben and Kara on love and cancer, this will be available on Facebook Live. And again, if you have any other questions or anything else you want to discuss just with us personally, and you don't want to post in the Facebook comments, please email us at info@fightingpretty.org. And just know that we love you and we're sending you love and strength always. Relationships are hard. Cancer is hard. But as soon as you start talking about things and you're vulnerable, it's worth fighting for. And so be picky, be vulnerable, talk to your partner, and never stop dating. Okay? Promise us, never stop dating. Be silly. Pants your husband. Pants your wife. Give them flowers. Tickle them before bed. Give them a wet willy. Seriously, just never stop dating. Bring pizza home. I'm getting hungry. And make your man a cocktail.
Love wins.
Love wins. All the love wins with friends, with partners, with parents, with siblings. Lean on your people. Ask for help when you need it. And just know that we too are here for you through cancer, through love, through everything. So if you have any questions, please email us. Jess, I see you. Oh my gosh, hi. Okay, we are signing off 7 minutes early.
Cheers.
Love you all. Cheers.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.